Rila. How are you, Rila? I think I need you here today too. All right, here we go. So you guys saw the title. You already see what it's about. This topic, now, we have been dancing around this topic for a really long time. I did not really want to get into this because this is very sensitive. I understand that a lot of people can get offended or, it can ruffle feathers. So we're doing it today because why not? So, reasons why other races tend not to date Black people, or yeah, the Black community, American Black people. We'll get into it. So I want to start off with the first thing, and that is, as you guys see on the scroll below me, the condemnation. So, God, here we go. Um, Oftentimes, when a person chooses or falls in love with a person that is Black, there's a lot of condemnation from the family. A lot of the family do not approve, and there is a lot of shunning. There's a lot of gossip, a lot of under talk, and a lot of talking behind your back. There's a lot of, well, what will the children be? What we're going to expect from this? Is this not going to be good? This is not going to be good. Maybe we shouldn't invite them to the family reunion. Maybe we shouldn't bring them around anymore. And do I agree with this? I do not. So let me remind you guys this. I don't agree with everything I'm going to say, but I will try to be as honest as possible with you because these are things that are said commonly. So the condemnation. There's a lot of condemnation when a person dates a Black person. And there actually is a list online. I'm going to read it to you. I found some like Reddit posts and people who are actually dating with a Black person, and they spoke about their experiences. Number one being derogatory comments in public, people snickering, side eyes, even outright saying like, "What are you guys doing together?" There's a loss of contact with family and friends. There are negative comments online or in the media. There is negative stereotyping. Stereotyping, I'm a little bit, I don't know about stereotyping too much because I do know that stereotypes do come from somewhere. Does it mean that the person is acting on said stereotype? It does not. The next one is open hostility and intimidation. So people trying to intimidate you or being hostile towards you to get you to separate or to get you to regret ever choosing to be in a relationship with said person. There's rejection from family, as we guys said, or being even disinherited. Now, you guys know that I work for law firms. Constantly, I'm seeing people being taken off of wills, off of last testaments, and so on and so forth. It happens, and there's also a sense of isolation because a lot of times in those kind of relationships, the other person, well, I would say the person that is not Black tends to feel isolated because they can no longer go back to their family, friends, or so on, out of fear of being rejected, being, what is the word? Not insulted, ridiculed, of getting ridiculed and so on, and shamed. And like I said, there are stares, insults, slights, and whispers. So coming back to this screen, what is the stigma? The stigma typically the stigma is, oh God. All right, the stigma is that a person, there's two types, right? There's the stigma of the successful person, and then there's also the ones that you see commonly at Walmart. So the other stigma is that typically the fat, unwanted white woman will end up with a Black man, or the very successful Black man, whether he's an entertainer, sports player, what have you, ends up with a white woman. But that white woman is most likely a gold digger. But it is possible to fall in love. It is possible to fall in love. I'm not saying it's not. One of the biggest problems that we see with this kind of dating is cultural differences. The cultural differences are vast, and it's one of the highest reasons why someone would disapprove of their child being in a relationship with a Black man or woman. When I speak about culture, I'm talking about American the American Black culture, which, you know, you guys, you can label it how you want. I see you as American, just American. But in America, I do understand that there are some differences. And I know that a lot of people, a lot of families do not want those kind of cultural influences on the future generations. Culture could be, it could be, oh man, it could be music, it could be slang, it could be um, the dressing a certain way, and so it could be anything. And a lot of families, they don't want to interrupt whatever cultural influence, you could say, cultural traditions that they have going on. A lot of people don't want to interrupt that. Now, the reason I said American is because there are situations like Nigerians, Kenyans, and you could say these people are black, but the culture difference is vast. And I believe, now this is just my opinion, but I do believe that when people are speaking about not wanting to date a black person, I think that they're talking about the American black person. And I have reasons for saying that. If you guys want to speak to me about it, you can. What? Oh, right. And this is another reason why I wanted to speak about the cultural differences. Now, if anyone here is of Caribbean, African descent, please call in because I would love to hear your opinion on cultural differences that you've experienced if you have dated maybe white or Asian or what have you. I would love to hear about those cultural differences because some cultures are very much about their traditions, very much about being homogenic. You guys understand what I'm saying? Keeping your genetics one way. So especially like the Asian culture, they are very particular about keeping things the same, the traditions, and they don't accept almost anyone. But more than likely, they less accept the Black American because they're like, it's too much of a difference. It's, yeah. The next largest thing that I'm going to speak about, now this is something I don't hear anyone speaking about it, and I'm going to say it because here we are and we're doing this together, aren't we? We're doing this together? Yeah. Okay. All right. Biological and genetic changes. Now, I would say that the black genes are so strong, melanin is so strong that no matter who you mix with, it's going to change the next generation for a very long time. So you mix that gene with anyone, it's going to make a lot of changes in skin color, hair texture, everything is going to change. And a lot of people, especially coming back from, let's say, my grandparents or your grandparents, that generation, they want to look at their grandchildren and see themselves when they were kids because people like to look at the grandchildren and say, oh look, they have my eyes, oh look, they have my ears, oh look, you look just like your great grandfather. The difference is when their child, let's say your daughter or your son, gets married to a black person, that those um, those genetic traits are going to most likely get lost because for them, they're not going to look at the grandchild and say, oh, look, you look just like your great grandfather, because the child will look so different from the rest of the family. And I think that is a lot of the reasons why a lot of families say they do not want to mix so much.